Hey, everybody, welcome to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And we are, again, very proud to be part of the Pigskin Podcast Network and their great affiliation with DraftKings. And I'm just going to keep talking because I really don't want to talk about what the hell happened in Cincinnati last week. My God.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, but that's what you're here for. We're going to dive into this sucker. Ben is here. I don't know if Ian is going to be making an appearance or not. He could be chasing one of the 83 kids around the house right now. I don't know. But what are you drinking, by the way, Ben?
Rogue Bat Squatch.
That's a fine-looking can. What kind of beer is that?
Hazy.
Hey, oh, nice. Love it. Love it. Okay.
And, of course.
There you go. Yeah. I'm enjoying a little brandy this evening.
Brandy.
Little brandy.
Oh,
little brandy.
I see.
I had a little piece of chocolate before.
Aren't we cultured?
I know. I thought I'll have a little brandy. Well, it's funny. My father-in-law buys it and he keeps it in my cupboard. He drinks like 2/3 of it. So by the time I get to it, it's nearly gone. I was lucky to even get some tonight. So
he buys it.
Yeah, exactly. Like he buys it for me, but then he drinks it. So it's like,
Now I'm understanding what you're putting down there.
Yeah, and so what I do is I keep my Bradshaw. I keep it down here in the podcast room.
That's a good idea.
I just keep it right here. That way he can't steal it. And of course, my son's probably down here sneaking sips on it. But what the hell are you gonna do?
This one's unopened.
That's
unopened.
Anyway, beautiful. Boy, you got a lot more than I do.
Unopened.
Beautiful.
And I think
I gotta get over to my store and see if they got
this is batch number 1. I don't think I'm gonna open that bottle at all.
I wouldn't.
I have a batch number 3 here someplace.
Oh, they're on 3.
That is open. I don't know what they're on, but I figured I want to keep batch number 1 and not open it. And when they get to batch number 12, I'm gonna get one of those and not open it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, let's jump into it. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously.
It's his favorite bourbon.
That's true. It is. What in the hell happened Sunday? I mean, was this a case that
they got their asses kicked? I mean,
it's
not complicated.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is either. I think it was mano a mano. They got beat across the board. They just got outplayed.
I mean, they talked all week about how big this game was and how seriously they had to take it.
Yep.
They all said the right things.
Mm-hmm.
But when they got out on the field, they didn't take it seriously, in my opinion. I don't think TJ Watt was 100%.
Oh, couldn't agree more.
I will say that he didn't look like himself.
No.
So I get it. He went out there and did his best, and the guy next to him for the most part was Chris Wormley, and that wasn't going so well. And no, a lot of the time it was Cam too, and they had Cam at nose, and putting Cam at nose. Okay, that's going to fill a gap. Maybe 2, and Cam's really good at busting double teams. And that was the whole point of putting him at nose. But that wasn't enough. They just ran away from him. They just were like, oh, Cam's there in the middle. TJ's not 100%. They were going up the middle. They were going around the edges. They were having their way with the Steelers, and it was terrible. I mean, missed tackles, poor gap discipline. It was just, that is the worst defensive performance I can recall since 2013. And that defense was awful.
That was bad.
2013. The offense in 2013, if you recall, was pretty respectable.
Pretty decent.
The defense was absolutely atrocious. And that one on Sunday, Ryan Clark absolutely laid into them on Monday.
Yep.
And
I had no problem with it. None.
On a couple of shows. No, I agree with them. They are playing soft. And for guys to say, well, we need to do this different and this different in practice and this. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Look at yourself. Look at what you are doing. Look how you personally can improve, because you guys are stinking it up out there. And it comes down to effort, beating the guy in front of you, and none of you are doing it. It was embarrassing. TJ was right. After the game, he said this was flat out embarrassing. He was right.
It was.
Yeah. Offensively, they just got outclassed. I mean, they just did. That line, that young line, they are what they are, man. I think that after the Browns game, a lot of people were like, yeah, see, this was the right draft strategy. Taking Najee in the first round was a great idea. See, the line's coming along. No, they're not. And I don't know how after one game of a pretty solid performance against the Cleveland Browns, who are a good run-stopping team, I don't know how you can declare this is suddenly a good line, because they're not consistent.
No.
Okay?
No.
Especially at center and tackle. They're just not. And they're young. They need a talent infusion badly. I think Dotson is going to be a very good player. Unfortunately, he's out right now. BJ Finney was god-awful replacing him on Sunday. Dan Moore didn't have a great game. I thought, honestly, of the guys that went out there, Moore probably played the best, and he didn't play well.
No.
And, they just flat out got outclassed. They couldn't control the line of scrimmage on either side, as Tomlin pointed out. And when you can't do that, when you can't execute basics, it ain't about coaching. When you can't educate the routine things you should know how to do. And this isn't high school football, okay?
Right.
These guys know how to do all this stuff when they get into this league. And if you need a coach to motivate you when you're a professional football player, you got a problem, and that's on you.
Yeah.
Okay?
That goes out the window when you get to the pros. Yeah.
Yeah, there were some suspect play calls and weird decisions, and all that played into it, sure. But they just flat out got their ass kicked physically on Sunday. And that was god-awful embarrassing. There's not much else to say.
I mean, there were moments when our defense was on the field, and it was almost as if Joe Burrow could have come to the line and he could have pretty much just called whatever he wanted to, and it was going to be successful. He could have called run up the middle, run outside, throw it short, throw it deep. I mean, that's the type of despair I had.
There were moments where I was pretty sure that if Burrow walked up to the line and told the defense what he was going to do, it still would have been successful.
Yeah.
It was
that bad.
That bad. It was god-awful. And I don't have an explanation. They just.
Is it at all possible that we've looked at this thing maybe the wrong way? And what I mean is, we should look at that little winning streak as almost they were overachieving. And now all of a sudden they're playing more down to what maybe they really are. I don't know. I mean, is the truth maybe somewhere in between? I don't know.
Maybe. I think that the further you get into the season, the more important the games become. And the intensity level ratchets up.
Yep.
And the Steelers haven't been able to maintain that intensity while the rest of the league is ratcheting it up. And, let's be frank. The guys that have been there for a while know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They just aren't. They're just not doing it.
What do you do, Ben, about Devin Bush? He's going to have to play this week. Robert Spillane's out. He's got to play.
You let him play through it, and you, especially last year, when I look at the guy I saw last year before he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
But even 2019, he led the team in tackles. His rookie season. You know he's not playing with confidence.
Right.
He's probably worried about the knee. Let's be frank. Probably is.
He's got to be. It's got to be. Yep.
and he's got some issues there. Vince Williams pointed out that Jerry O's wife died, and that probably did affect him on some level because Jerry hasn't been around as much, or wasn't at a certain point.
Right.
And it's got to have had an effect on Jerry, which is going to ratchet down the intensity coming from his coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all those things are playing into it. That and the defensive line play definitely is absolutely impacting the linebackers. Sorry, it just is.
It is.
Yes, they should absolutely be taking on blocks in the hole, and they should be maintaining gap discipline anyway, and they're not. But the D-line play is absolutely affecting things. And with Bush, there's not much you can do except for say, hey, Devin, I need you to play through this. I need you to find a way.
Yeah.
Because basically that's what they're doing. They're just saying to him, look, it isn't about you being a first-round pick. It's about the way that you've played previously.
Mm-hmm. We
want to see that again. We want you to play through this and find a way to get back to being that guy.
To me, it's and you talked about the line and the inability to keep those linemen at the first level instead of getting to the linebackers. And Bush has always, in the couple of years he's been here in the games he's played, he's had great effort. And what I'm seeing now is a guy that when a blocker gets on him, I don't want to say the effort's not there because I would
say that.
I think mentally it is, but it's like, it's not what you said about his knee.
He's late to react.
He's so late to react that
at points he's reluctant to take on blockers.
Right, which then leads
and the guy who played
tackling.
Yeah, the guy who played at Michigan, and the guy who played for the Steelers before he tore his ACL was not that guy. He took on blockers in the hole, and if he didn't make the tackle, he plugged the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it comes back to a lack of confidence in that knee.
That's what I'm at.
I don't know what else to say. Is that okay? Make a comparison. Mm-hmm. I have frequently said that Mason Rudolph, the reason he's not a good quarterback is he lacks the belief in himself to use the tools that he has to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He doesn't believe in his ability to squeeze the ball into tight places. He doesn't believe in his ability to read defenses, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He constantly checks down when he's got a guy in the field open because he doesn't think he can hit him, probably. That or he just doesn't fucking see him. I don't know. With Mason, who knows? He can't feel the rush, and he's slow in the pocket and everything else. He's so frustrating. I think with Bush right now, his struggle is primarily confidence, and he's not using the gifts that he has because of that. And the hope is that he can, by the end of the season, at least, get that back. I said after the Bears game, this team is, I don't know why we're talking about playoffs. It's still up in the air. And fans were, we're going to take the lead in the AFC North. Suck it. And then we tie the Lions. I don't know how you can watch a team be as inconsistent as the Steelers have been this year and talk about them as though they can contend for any title, even a division title. That ain't happening.
No. I don't disagree. There's just too many things going on. James Pierre, I think, has been a nice story. I think last week proved to me he just can't be.
He's a young player.
He is, but man, I think you either have ball skills or you don't.
We've seen him make some ridiculous plays too. I think he got outclassed. He learned some hard lessons, probably.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you're going to do that kind of a game, frankly, is the time to do it because the rest of the defense is playing so shitty anyway. I'm just going to put it out there. The rest of the defense is playing so bad anyway that maybe that's the time to learn those lessons. It's like, okay, we got to learn them anyway.
Right,
let's not learn these in a close game. Let's learn one when our offense is clicking and we're up with a big score, with big lead, or let's learn them in a game where we're getting fucking blown out anyway. And it doesn't make any difference.
You had some comments today about Terrell Edmonds. And I think it's important what you were saying about the fact, yes, he's a first round draft pick. And I think most people would say, has he achieved that? No. Has he lived up to it? Rather, no. But you don't think he's playing as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, though, either, right?
No, I don't get all the hate for Terrell Edmonds. He's not a great player. He's not a world beater.
Right.
I mean, the Steelers didn't exercise his fifth-year option. I mean, that just tells you right there. They were like, well, we want you to come back, but we don't want to pay you $10 million a year plus for your fifth year. So we hope to re-sign you, but we're not going to exercise that option. That doesn't mean we don't value you as a player. I think he's pretty steady. Occasionally comes up with a big play. Yeah. Occasionally has a good game. Occasionally has some bad games. But overall, I think that he's a pretty steady player that gets a lot of hate because he was a first-round pick. And people just didn't like the pick. Hell, I didn't like the pick. I thought it sucked. I was like, what the why?
Yeah.
But they really, really needed a strong safety that year. Like, really needed one. So I get it. They took him. It was that or play Sean Davis there. And
right.
I don't think Davis is even in the league anymore.
I don't think so either. I think he's out now. Yeah.
So
it
is what it is,
man. I think he's been okay. Like you said, makes a big tackle here and there, misses a tackle here and there. Does a nice job covering here and there. Not so much here and there.
Of the guys that were out there on the field on Sunday, and everybody missed tackles, but except Cam, he was pretty consistent. I mean, Minka was missing tackles. Pierre missed several tackles. Yep. Sutton missed tackles. Yep. Sutton had some stupid penalties, which is not like Sutton.
No.
At all. Witherspoon looked terrible. Millette looked terrible. The whole defensive backfield just, I mean, it was pretty obvious by about the middle of the first quarter that the Bengals had no respect for that defense. None. No. They were dancing after first downs. They were talking trash on the way back to the huddle, laughing and smiling. Do you remember that defense from the middle 2000s the Steelers had on the field? There's no fucking way anybody
we are light years from that.
There's no way anybody would have thought about pulling that crap on the way back to the huddle, because they knew that on the next play, somebody would have lit them up. They wouldn't even thought about it. They'd have been like, yeah, well, that was a good one. First down. Okay, I got to get back to the huddle.
It's got to be frustrating for the veterans. There's no question about it. And we'll see. Just a quick reminder that the show is sponsored or presented, depending on your choice of terminology, by DEK Roofing of South Florida. DEK serves Broward and the southern Palm Beach counties, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, or condos. Contact DEK Roofing today by visiting dekroofing.com. Offensively, we talked a little bit about the offensive line. Najee Harris was essentially a non-factor in this game. They got behind early. Running the ball became...
Najee Harris was a non-factor because the offensive line sucks.
Well, because it sucks, but I think they went away from the run too, which probably had to because the offensive line sucked.
Well, they went away from the run because they got down by 21 early.
Right.
I mean,
right.
What option did they have?
Yeah. I think Deontay Johnson has had a very nice year. If you look at his stats and if they play out over the course of the year, He's got an outside shot at a Pro Bowl. I'm not saying he'll make it. It's an outside shot, but just looking at his stats compared to
he's
others,
got a shot at making the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
because he's an outstanding individual performer. Okay, he'll deserve to make the Pro Bowl. Whether he goes or not is another question. But it's because he's a part of that offense, and that offense is god awful.
Well, that's true, and I will say this for the media, the NFL talking heads, I think they've done a good job of detailing the struggles he had last year and the successes he's had this year. And does that mean that you deserve to go to a Pro Bowl just because you've worked really hard on catching tennis balls and stuff? No, but I think very nice. What is that? Ecliptic? I couldn't. The light's hitting the can.
Ecliptic.
Oh, there it is.
Phaser Hazy.
Man, you got some nice IPAs there.
I live in Oregon, dude. Of course I do.
I know. I think he's done a nice job. I hope he stays on this pace, and it's going to be hard, of course. But and what do you make of Claypool? What is it with this guy? It seems like he cannot just go up for a ball and stay up. It's always got to go to the ground. I don't get it.
I don't know. He has not. He's been a disappointment this season. I'll just put it out there. He's
totally agree.
He's not catching catchable balls. He's not fighting for 50-50 balls. He'll be out in the open by himself, jump up in the air and catch a ball and fall down.
Yeah, he just goes to the ground.
What?
And I don't get it. Look at his Notre Dame tape.
I don't get it either. I know.
Yeah.
When he got drafted by the Steelers, I referred to him as a fucking bully. And that was what I wanted.
Yep.
I wanted a guy like T. Higgins. That was kind of what I was thinking. I was like, hey, this guy, great big target, long arms, fast, good long speed. He's gonna push the DB out of the way. He's gonna body him out with his hips, pull the ball down, strong, big hands, pull it in. Good luck getting the ball away from him. It ain't happening. And that's not what he has been this season. Last year, he was much better. I don't know if he got complacent. I don't know if his approach has changed. I don't know what the deal is. But he is not the same guy. Mm-hmm. And maybe, I was going to say maybe being humbled is a good thing, but then he made that stupid comment this week about, well, let's have music at practice.
Well, I was going to get to that.
That'll solve some things. And Tomlin, in his wisdom, I'll be frank,
he did a nice job.
He did a very nice job of responding to that.
Yep.
Simply said, Chase plays wide out, and I'll continue to let him do that. And I will decide how practice runs. Moving on.
Yeah. No, it was a brilliant response. Cam was a little less subtle.
Cam was like, when he said it, I was ready to rip the fucking speaker off.
Yeah. I hope he was joking, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I really hope he was kidding because he's not getting any music. None.
No, it's so fascinating to me. And, Ben has been notorious for the whole, I don't want music played in the locker room. And everybody thinks it's been because he's like a curmudgeon or because he doesn't like that kind of music or something. And that's not true. Really what it is, he's doing what the guys before him did.
Right.
That was the story.
They had a rule that when you were at work, there was no music.
Right.
So when you were working, there was no music. So as soon as the game was over or practice was over or whatever, it was fine. Yep. It was fine.
Yep.
Music. No worries. But while you were working, there was no music. Oh, no. Excuse me. Except they had music in the weight room back then.
Yeah. Right.
Because I specifically recall an example where Ike Taylor said to the guys, hey, Mr. Rooney doesn't like the music we're playing in the weight room. so we got to change it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and he would know. He would definitely have
but just like everybody else, but he loved Mr. Rooney, and he had a very special relationship with Mr. Rooney, is the way it's been described to me.
Right.
So he basically was like, yeah, Mr. Rooney.
Yeah.
We're not,
but Cam has adopted.
Can't play that song anymore.
No, done, over. But Cam is a veteran too, and Cam adopted the same principle as Roethlisberger. That there's a time to have it, and there's a time that we're not going to have it.
Now think about this. Cam played right at the end of the Aaron Smith, Brett Kiesel era.
Yep.
Okay, so that was how he was introduced to the league. So yeah, of course, Casey Hampton, those guys. Of course, that is going to be his approach because that is what he was taught out of the gate.
And there is a portion of you that Well, what I'm getting at is that you don't want to let those guys that came before you down. You want to live up to the standards that they set.
I don't know if the younger players do. Maybe I'm getting old. I definitely am getting old.
We are definitely getting old.
But we think about this. The 2010 Young Money crew. Remember that with the wide receivers?
Yeah.
And we were all like, this is not like the Steelers. This isn't what we don't like this.
No.
We want Hines Ward, who takes every game seriously, who takes losses personally, who takes slights from the other team personally. Will get up when he's being slighted and smile and laugh and then come back the next play and smack you in the mouth. That was the guy we loved.
Yep.
That's what we want from our wide receivers. And this Young Money thing, who was it? It was Mike Wallace,
Brown, and Sanders.
And all three of them douchebags. Look at that.
Yeah. In fact, one of them now serving a 3-game suspension for lying about his COVID status or vaccination status, I should say.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, let me rip off our wonderful DraftKings stuff here for everybody. Let's see here. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL. And, they give you a list of states in here, and I know that's way more states than
that. They're giving 100-1 odds using the promo code?
Well, basically, they're just telling you, here, bet $1, your team scores, we give you 100.
$100.
Yep.
On $1 bet for a score.
Free bets. You'll get 100 in free bets. It's not like you can just take 100. Yeah.
I get it. I think I'm going to do this.
Oh, I'm telling you, I've taken advantage several times. It's fun. It is a hoot.
I think not doing that is walking away from free money, and I have an objection to that. I think it's a bad idea.
I agree.
So
do it. Yeah, TPPN. That's your code. Do it, people. DraftKings Sportsbook. And don't lie, most of you already have it downloaded anyway. We know you're all a bunch of gambling degenerates out there. Does TJ Watt have any chance of playing this week? Or is he completely off because of COVID?
He's got a chance, but it's a long shot. What I understand is he has very, very mild symptoms, but you got to test negative twice by Saturday.
Right.
And if you don't, you ain't playing. So I doubt it.
Yeah. He's on it. Joe Haig is on it. Who was the third that joined him today?
Spillane, but he's not. I mean,
not going to play anyway.
He's not playing today. This week. I mean, if there ever was a good time for somebody to catch COVID, it's this week for Spillane. It sucks, though, that this many guys are getting it, in my opinion.
It's a concern.
It kind of is. It feels to me like it's kind of rolling through the Steelers locker room, where last year we were very, very lucky, except that every team that played the Steelers had a fucking outbreak. But aside from that, we were very lucky last year.
Yeah, we were. Our guys handled it well, and this year we're just having some down luck with regards to it. We're man, there's so many places to go with this.
What's the question?
I don't even know. I'm so flummoxed with this team this week. It's just flummoxed, absolutely flummoxed. Well, what would you rate Ben's performance as last week? How would you rate it?
Shitty. He is a shadow of his former self.
I know. It kills me.
I agree. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Occasionally, he'll rip off a deep out that's an absolute dime, and I'm just
for sure.
God, fuck, that's the guy I remember.
Yep.
Why can't you do that every snap? But he just can't do it anymore.
No.
And it's, his footwork sucks. And part of that is his offensive line sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Where, honestly, a younger Ben, even like a 2018 Ben, his footwork didn't need to be perfect. It didn't matter. Right. He had enough upper body strength that he could still deliver the ball where it needed to be when he didn't have his base set. But he can't do that anymore. Everything's got to be perfect for him to throw a perfect ball. And, I mean, it's frustrating to see, but Father Time is undefeated. Absolutely undefeated. And Ben has gotten to that point. And people will argue with me. Oh, well, what about the 4 fourth quarter comebacks? I get it. He still has that brain he spent 20 years developing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. He's still that guy. He can still do a lot of things that young quarterbacks can't do because he can see it before the ball is snapped.
That's why he's still your best option.
Yeah. Oh, God.
By far.
Which is sad, honestly, because Ben is probably in the bottom 25% of,
I would say,
starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's still far better than the next best option, which is Mason Rudolph, who, I'm sorry. I know he's probably going to be a starter next year.
Yeah.
He is. He is. He sucks. And he's never going to be, in my opinion, he's never going to be a viable starter in this league.
No.
It is what it is. But Ben is today, as badly as he's playing by comparison to the old Ben, he's still the best option for the Steelers.
By far. I think people don't often understand too. He's dealing with a pec and a shoulder injury, and people say,
and his throwing arm.
Well, and he's got issues on the other side too. Yeah, and
well, he's got a pec shoulder injury on the right side.
Right.
I don't know the extent of it, but it is in his throwing arm. That's definitely affecting him.
Has to be.
I mean, he talks about this every year. He's like, yeah, we get to a certain point in the season, we're all hurting, we're all achy, but it is what it is. It's time at the end of this season for Ben to go ahead and retire.
Yeah. I much as I don't want to admit that it is, it's there. It is what it is.
You don't want to admit it for the same reason that I didn't want to admit it. Basically, it took 21 years the last time.
Yeah.
Between Bradshaw, a legitimate franchise quarterback, and Ben Roethlisberger, a legitimate franchise quarterback. And if you don't have that guy, it's really difficult. It can be done. It can be done, but it's really, really difficult to compete for a Super Bowl if you don't have that guy. I mean, there are, the occasional Trent Dilfer.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
And Brad Johnson.
Yep.
That happens, but it's the exception. It's not the rule. Typically, the guys that win are great quarterbacks.
Yeah, I agree. I just It is. It's part thinking about that 21-year span. It's thinking about what we could be next year.
It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Next year's not going to be. It's going to be. Next year's going to be Tomlin's first losing season. This year
could be.
I predict they're going to go 8-1, just to frustrate Ian. Be a perfect 500. Again,
that's going to frustrate way more than just Ian. Let me tell you.
And yeah, well, next year they're going to be like 5-11 or 6-10 or something god awful.
Yeah,
and people are just going to be pissed.
Yeah.
But you think people are angry this year?
Oh,
you know, and I wrote something, I don't know, a week ago. Yeah, it was Monday. And basically to the extent of, look, I think that a lot of people are gonna jump ship and stop being Steelers fans.
Absolutely.
Next year.
Yep. Might even be by the end of this year.
Which is fine.
Yep.
If that's what you want to do it. Just don't fucking come back. Okay? Because you were never a real fan to begin with. You weren't.
Yep.
Go ahead, own it. You never were a Steelers fan. Don't fucking come back. Ever.
Yeah.
You are not welcome.
And I am fine if you say, like TJ Watt said, that that was embarrassing. And he's talking about the performance. He's talking about the game. But don't ever say being a Steelers fan is embarrassing. It's not. It never has been.
Hell no.
Well, unless maybe you go back quite a way. What do we have here? What is it? What kind of Oh, there we go. Nearest.
Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
Huh. Well, thank you, Johnny.
Uncle Farthest. Yeah. Don't this stuff about people.
No. The story about this whiskey is this is the guy who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I thought it was going to be like Jack Daniels, which I don't personally care for.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking excellent.
Well, it looks like I have some things to put on my Christmas list. Is an all alcohol Christmas list? Is that wrong?
No, not really. I'm going to say no. I'm going to go with that's a strong no.
I want this. I want this. I want this. What's your outlook this week? What do you? I mean, the Ravens. Lamar Jackson has had an unusual year. We've had a pretty good run against him. I fear the way we're stopping the run. It could be. He might not have to throw the ball one time.
No TJ.
No.
I recommend drinking.
Yes, as was said to Bluto, my recommendation is to start drinking heavily. And that may be the tip. I think it could be ugly. I think the only way we stay in this game is
lower
if Ben gets hot.
Your expectations, because it ain't going to be pretty.
No, and then we have a short week. We go into Minnesota Thursday night.
Yeah, which I think could actually be a little bit better.
It might be just from the standpoint of we're not going to have too much time to worry about what happened on Sunday.
Nope.
And Minnesota's in the thick of a playoff race in their division and their conference. So,
that and TJ will be back by then, in my opinion, and thirsty.
Yeah,
he's going to be like,
What's the outlook for Hayden this week? Has he practiced yet this week?
Nope.
That's not good.
No, it's not. It's a foot injury, which makes you wonder if it's a Liz Frank sprain, which makes you wonder if he's actually ultimately going to need surgery, which makes you wonder if he's played his last game as a Steeler.
Highly possible. Yeah, it is. It's one step to the next. Yeah.
It ain't good.
No.
Yeah, and I love Joe Hayden. I hope he comes back for a couple more years. Honestly, he's been a great Steeler thus far. He's been a great teammate.
Yep.
He's done a fantastic job at left corner. I like him. I hope they can come to terms on a new deal next year. I really do. I guess we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
They may look to get younger. They may see this as a team in transition. But veterans like that guy,
he's just too good. I mean, he's a great guy to have around.
Having good vets like that around to bring the young guys along, I think is always a good thing.
Yeah, I do too. I
look at the work that James Harrison did with the young linebackers his final few years. I mean, at the end he kind of pulled a douchebag move and was like, I want to play, so I want you guys to release me or trade me, and they released him. And he went and played for the Patriots. God, why, James?
I know.
But I'll always appreciate James for the contributions he made as a Steeler.
Yep.
And he'll always be a Steeler as far as I'm concerned. That'll never, ever stop. I notwithstanding what Juju said, you go to the Patriots and you give away all that goodwill. You don't. That's just too many years. There's too much history.
It's a business.
There's just too much history there.
Right.
There was too much love before that happened for that one slight to ruin the whole relationship.
Right.
Right. And I just can't. If Antonio Brown ever pulled his fucking ass out, pull his head out of his ass, I would, and apologized for being such a fucking dick when he left town. He went out of his way when he left to burn bridges and to talk shit. If he ever humbles himself and apologizes to Steelers fans and to the Steelers organization for being such a fucking douchebag, I mean, there's just too much there. There's too much love for the guy before. I'd take him back and I'd accept him as a Steeler again. But I don't know that he ever will, because I think AB's a little batshit. I do.
I think the bats have left.
I know things I can't even talk about on this show.
I know
that I've discussed with you.
I know,
and there are so many things that the public never ever knew about, because the Steelers protected him. And now the teams he played for, the teams he plays for will not. The Raiders didn't protect him.
Nope.
Maybe BA is, because he knew who Antonio Brown was. He knew. So maybe he is protecting him, possibly. But the Raiders didn't. The Patriots didn't.
No.
The Steelers protected him. Okay.
Big time.
Yeah. And I'll leave it at that.
Yep. Yeah. That's a good place to leave that. So I could tell by your reactions, you don't think this is going to be a very good week for the Steelers. What kind of prediction do you have?
Fuck you. Oh God. It's going to be ugly. Ravens 38, Steelers 10.
Oh God. I have faith we're going to see more effort. And we're going to
I agree.
We're going to force a few things defensively.
We're also playing a better team this week.
I understood. I'm gonna go 30-17 Ravens.
Oh.
I think we'll find a way to score some points, because I don't think this is a typical Ravens defense. I
do think that John Harbaugh will run it up because he's a dick.
Oh, he will. I don't be surprised if he goes for 2.
He will be. He will go for 2 when he's up by 21.
Oh, he's done it before against us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he'll do it again.
Yep. Yeah. No, he's a complete asshole when it comes to that. Yeah.
A complete asshole. Yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah,
very good description.
We are down, and he will put his foot on the back of our necks and push us into the mud. There is no two ways about it.
Yep.
For sure. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. Hopefully Ian and his
God
brood
damn,
are
that
fine.
is good whiskey.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, I'm already out. So Gotta get more. But hey, for Ben, this is Steel Dad signing off, and make sure you check out the website steelcityblitz.com. All kinds of good stuff going on there every day, and continue to check out. We are on YouTube as well as a number of other wonderful podcast sites. So check us out there, and big shout out to Bill. Bill gets back to me every week about the podcast and asks a question or something for the mailbag. So thanks to Bill. I want to make sure he got a little bit of pub and everybody else. So again, thank you. And that's it. This is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.